Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Right. You would have heard call it the other side of the story. As far as the altercation at the offices of the OSP on Thursday is concerned, whose report do you believe, if you believe any at all?
What of the Lord?
Samson, I think I would believe Martin Pebu over the OSP at this point.
Why?
In the past, I would not have believed or doubted information coming from the OSP, which is supposed to be a citadel of integrity. In your interview with Martin Pebu, you mentioned that the Fourth Estate published the report which said that the SML investigation started in 2023. That was an official report from the Office of the Special Prosecutor, which many media houses published. I did not have reason to believe or even suspect that such an honorable office might be lying in its reports. Then, early this year, officials of that office reached out to me on the 29th of January 2025. And the call was to the effect that you petitioned our office to begin investigating SML. We are about to start the investigation, and we think it is proper that we understand the petition. There are some backgrounds you may have which is not in the petition or which may not even be in the documentary, so tell us. So we scheduled a meeting, and that meeting came on the 31st of January. There was a follow-up email from the officer who was leading that charge, the investigation at the time. And this email came to me on the 5th of February 2025. And the email said I should provide them some information for, quote, the preparatory process for the investigation. And it was in line with the fact that they were about to begin. When I saw the nature of the evidence, what they were looking for, this was not, none of the people who were major targets in the investigation was involved. They just needed something from the periphery, which is fair, because when you want to begin an investigation of this nature, you start with the soft spot, at least get some information so that when you are contacting or reaching out to the targets, you know what you have. So that is there. Then I also intercepted a diary of action from the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And the first entry on that diary of action taken on the SML matter was entered on the 29th of January 2025 at 12:40 p.m. And it summarizes the story and then the nature of the petition. Then on the 30th of January 2025, there was an entry in which someone who is supposed to be a supervisor says or gives some instruction, and I'm reading that instruction to you. Please proceed with the preliminary, and I'm emphasizing the word, proceed with the preliminary investigations needs and prepare an investigation plan and identify the persons of interest we will need to interview and appropriate departments and agencies to provide information. Samida Ako, who is sitting in your studio, said that at the time Ernest Akori was leaving the country, the OSP did not know that he was a person of interest. This diary from the OSP shows that the persons of interest are identified at the preliminary stages of the investigation. Ernest Akori is mentioned in our documentary as having signed that letter for Ken Ofori-Atta. Ken Ofori-Atta is mentioned. Ernest Akori left Ghana in November 2024, towards the end of 2024, and this was about a year after we petitioned that office. If the office had done any work, it would have identified him as a person of interest. So, Samson, I'm saying to you that it is difficult to believe this office. This is the office. The last time Sammy Darko spoke on your show, he said the office had saved $2.7 billion that would have been paid to SML. $2.7 billion translates into 30 billion Ghana cedis. I didn't say anything until he started to say that, well, they uncovered more. And I came up with evidence. And I spoke to the special prosecutor himself, Kisi Ajabeng, on the phone. And I told him that the entire contract sum for the SML, the 5-year contract, was $500 million US, a little over $500 million US. So where did you get this $2.7 billion from? He claimed that it was in the PPA approval. My argument is, if there was a PPA approval letter, but between the contracting parties, there is an agreement to pay something that is far less than the approval. Maybe you go to PPA, the method was the main reason they went to the PPA. So you say you are going to use a single source method to procure a car that is worth 500,000 cedis. They give you the method, but between you and the car dealer, it is 300,000 cedis. Kisia Jabin told me that Albert Akurubu, who led that SML investigation at the OSP, and Sammy Darko think the way you think, but I think differently. But that is even not the case. In my investigation, I had a PPA letter, and the letter did not in any place state the 2.7 billion that Kisia Jabin claimed. And then, eventually, I published the PPA letter and challenged the OSP to also publish which letter they claimed. If you go to the OSP's website now, they have come back to the same figure, the 500 million that I mentioned earlier. So I'm saying this to make a point that if an office of this nature is coming up with information, it is difficult at this moment to just believe everything that they say.
Okay.